and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of its host, Urban Arts Enterprises, its advertisers, or affiliates, and are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. What up, y'all? It is 7 o'clock Central Time on a Tuesday. I got to throw that little Central Time thing in there, y'all, because I be forgetting that it's people on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and in some parts of the world that are watching Inside Steppin', and I want to say thank you for that more than anything else. Linda Sanders, how are you on this fine Tuesday? Thank you for checking in. That's my Inside Steppin' family right there. We're going to have an interesting conversation tonight, y'all. This is going to be one of my rants, if you will. We're going to have a real good discussion tonight. We're going to talk about some things dealing with our Steppers Etiquette. Very little about the etiquette, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the men in the community and the lack thereof, and a few other things that I'm going to segue in and out of for those reasons right there. A couple of things y'all might find interesting. Carolyn Pippin in the building. How are you? C. Wands, what's up? My man, Dennis Howard Hodges, my mellow is in the building. What up, Pastor D? I'm going to see you this weekend, sir. I'm looking forward to it as always, and we got to get our customary traditional picture together like we always do. We amassing quite a collection, brother, and I just want you to know that I appreciate them and you. And speaking of appreciation, let me also say that I appreciate you all's participation, your constant support, your ability to continue to support Inside Steppin' and keep us moving forward as we have been. And man, look, I'm enjoying the journey, y'all. And I tell you why. As I always tell y'all, it is so very important for us to continue to build one another and build within this community and make things the best that they can be for everybody around us and throughout this entire diaspora of our culture. It is so critically important that we just treat each other right, y'all. That goes a long, long way. Despite anything that takes place, any of the negativity, any of the on all of the good things, because I promise you, we got way more good stuff happening in Steppin' and in the Steppers world than we do bad. And we want to emphasize those things more than anything else. Now, before I get started, right quick, I'm going to make my announcements, because once I get rolling, y'all, I ain't going to want to stop. But let me start out by talking about, see, I need my glasses, y'all. It's them old eyes. This weekend, you guys, Chicago, Illinois, we will be in the building. We will be doing our doggone thing. Miss Beamer Johnson, how are you? Thank you for checking in. I'm glad you're here, Beamer, because we have something to discuss. Paradise Hair Care in the building. What's up, lady? So look, before I get off into too much of the other stuff, this weekend, you guys, we will be in Chicago at the Noble Entertainment Center on Saturday with Miss Sunshine and the Shine Entertainment Reunion Boot Camp and Set. And baby, when I tell you it's going to be a time to be had, it is going to be a time to be had. We are going to clown this weekend in Chi-Town. We're going to tear the roof off the city. And like you know what they say, the roof is on fire. We ain't going to need no water. We're going to let it burn. You dig? So if you ain't got your tickets, that's cool. If you in the city, just make sure you show up and be ready to show out, because it's going down at the Noble Entertainment Center on Saturday night. Susu Watson, what's up, baby girl? I'm going to see you this weekend. Looking forward to it like always. And moving forward, June 26th through the 29th, we will be in Vegas out there with Nicole V. And she's going to be doing her event, the birthday celebration, featuring Carmichael and Miss Maddie B, First Lady, doing her line dance thing. We got Andre Blackwell doing his thing on the workshop. We got Myron the R and Mellow Chris on the ones and twos with DJ Scantron. The host for that event is going to be Mr. Devin Smith, y'all. That's my main man, 50 grand. We got Jesse Roy doing one of the workshops too, so that's going to also be a treat because he's going to be getting his walk on. And of course, Inside Stepping will be in the building, and we will be broadcasting live from Las Vegas, so y'all get ready to check that out. We're going to check that out. Y'all got to be ready to check that out because that's what we're going to be on. Also, on now, there's a lot of stuff happening. You know, I'm right now I'm covering the events that we're going to be broadcasting at, even though we got a lot of other stuff going on. August 21st through the 24th, we will be in Little Rock, Tiny Rock, Arkansas, with my man Ted the Boss Williams over there doing his thing with his Crushing Cream set. And this year's color is red, and we will be in the building wearing red, broadcasting live. And of course, I'll be playing the day set like always, and it'll be going down. We got a really nice lineup on that. Eric E.T. Taylor, my man, Pony Mac, Daryl Smooth Greenwood, Black Ice, and DJ Randy E. George Hilliard will also be on the ones and twos. Myself and Lamont Watts will be broadcasting. My man, the Doc, Kevin Doc Dockery, Pat Clay, Greg Dixon, and Ted the Boss on workshops. And that is always a really good set. Listen, y'all, I try to take the time to tell y'all what the good sets are. And I don't do it in a way because of the people who I'm doing business with. I tell you what the good sets are, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm hard-pressed to support sets that are not what they should be. Let me put it that way. And so I'm cautious about which ones that I will go to and spend the kind of time and talk about. And all of the sets that I'm naming to you right now are all great events. The only one that I haven't been to personally before is Nicole V's birthday celebration, but it's going to be nice. We're going to have Carmichael doing his thing because it's his birthday as well. It's going to be really fly out there in Vegas. And then right after that, of course, y'all know we got the homecoming, which will be Labor Day weekend in Chicago. It is going to be a historic event. I encourage you, if you have not already set your sights on it, to make sure that you do. Everybody will be in the building. And when I say everybody, I mean damn near everybody. It'll be more people there than not in the Steppers community. My man, Pretty Ricky Goddard, is in the building. What's up, Pretty Ricky? Cat Daddy in the house. What's going on? Yeah, the butter getting long. It's back to the old days, baby. You know how we do, Rick. You know what it is. And of course, then right afterwards, we have the world's largest, you guys. Looking forward to that. And one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is the fact that the first prelim is coming up next week. Right after which we'll be in Minneapolis, Minnesota with the 10th anniversary of Denim and Diamonds 2025. Get ready for that with my girl, Valeria Connor. That is going to be a fantastic event. Always a great event. Class act. I'm talking about a very, very class act. Also, on October the 16th through the 19th, y'all, we will be in the nation's capital, the DMV. We will be in D.C. with my man Norman Cherry out there. And, of course, my girl Jackie Ballard. That's my homie right there. And we are going to enjoy that set as well. Get ready for that one because that is yet another class act, yet another well worth the, I'm going to say, investment. Because some of these sets, don't get me wrong, they're sets, they're good, and it's not to knock anybody, but some sets, let's just be honest, all sets are not created equal, and this is absolutely one of the better. So get ready for that. We're going to be doing that doggone thing, and I'm sure there's some stuff that I'm missing, but we'll get to that because I got a lot to say tonight. Let me start by giving a shout-out to my man Reggie Miles and Dr. Francine for yesterday's show on Conversations on Monday. Look here, y'all. They had what I thought was a phenomenal conversation with one of our iconic and soon-to-be legendary steppers in the around our community, and that was Miss Celeste Sutton. She gave a fabulous interview yesterday. She said a lot of things that some people may or may not have wanted to hear, but they were true. And for that, you know, I got to tell y'all, and I'm gonna touch on this tonight. Some people don't want to deal with the truth. The truth hurts, unfortunately. But the simple fact is, it's out there, and it is what it is, and it's not going to change because you feel some kind of way. That ain't going to happen. Sheila White asks, when is DMV? Sheila, I apologize. I should have given you the dates. October 16th through 19th, 2025. Definitely going to be a great event. You need to make it out there to that. And Rose Kelly Wellington, Miss Jenkins, how you doing? She says, please, 1 to 6 p.m., June 28th, Chicago's #1 Stepper Set. My first day stepping event at Visions Event Center. That's 11901 South Loomis Avenue, y'all. So the interview that Reggie and Lil Lloyd hosted on yesterday was very informative. I was very pleased with the things that I heard because there was a lot of what you call record straightening going on, and a lot of things that were said, and it may offend some people and it may not, but at the same time, it's true. So that's on you, how you feel about it. Susu Watson say the truth will set you free. Absolutely, Susu. I agree 100%, 150%. And for the record, just so y'all know, moving forward, your boy, DJ Be Real, myself, will be broadcasting live every Tuesday. We're making our decision now as to whether or not it'll be before or after my show here inside Steppin'. I'll be broadcasting live on WBOE. That's one of Reggie's networks. And we will be doing a 2 to 3 hour jam session with me playing the box for y'all. Because why? Because I love this. I'm just saying. Now, let me just start by saying this as I move forward. If you are a person who has a problem with the truth, you're in the wrong place. This is not where you want to be. You want to be somewhere else. Inside Steppin' is transparent and truthful. Some people may not like what they hear, but one thing about me that you're going to always need to remember, what you see is what you get. I don't change up. What you see right here on this show is the same person you get in person. Anybody who knows me will tell you that. If you have a problem with the truth, you're in the wrong place. You need to go find something safer to do. This ain't it. This ain't what you want. Now, in regard to the events that I just named off, y'all will remember, for those of you who are my frequent flyers, I mentioned last week and prior weeks the beginners stepping contest that was going to take place in Maryville, Indiana with my girl Lisa Luckett has been canceled. We will not be doing the contest. The picnic and the barbecue is still on. However, let me say this to y'all. There's a reason why it's being canceled. And that is because, as it turns out, we're having a little bit of a struggle, not just with that, but in the community in general. Let me explain to you what it is. We are suffering in the Steppers community from lack of men. Now, as a segue from what we talked about on yesterday, what Celeste and Reggie Miles and the Conversations crew talked about on yesterday, she made some very good points about the dance and where we are in the dance and how the part of the dance that I am familiar with, the original dance, is starting to fall by the wayside, kind of, but not really. But the fact that the new school, old school tradition of the dance has now gained its legs and has now become a new part of what we do. Now, like myself, she made a statement that I 150% agree with, which was, it's not the dance. Now, I know some of y'all gonna take exception to that because you have people that are a part of the new school dance genre, and don't like the original style of the dance because mostly you don't know anything about it and you can't do it. Let's just keep that a buck right off the rip. And simple fact is that the popular version of the dance is what we see most people doing now with the 8 count, and there's nothing wrong with it. I've had to make adjustments in my dance to kind of, just, I got a wife that pushed me. Hey, come on, let's do the 8 count. Let's do it this way, okay. But my point is that she made a statement and she said, it should be called something else. I do not disagree with that because people made up what they wanted to make up and then they started calling it stepping, which is not necessarily accurate. But I am not going to buck that system only because I think things are okay the way they are. I don't believe a whole bunch of changes and stuff need to be made and a bunch of adjustments. Let's just ride this out. Let's let it do what it does. But I just want people to be clear about understanding where we are in the dance and understand the differences. And that's why it's important for the younger generation. And I say younger, I'm talking people in their early to mid 50s and down to explain how that part of the dance is what it is and why and how it came to be. That way we keep the history straight and we make sure that the culture stays intact and proper. Now, I said all of that to segue into the fact that we are seemingly either gaining a lot of women or we're losing and not recruiting enough men. Now, in regard to Lady Lisa Luckett's contest, one of the problems with that is that there are plenty of women who are ready to compete, even in the beginners category, but not enough men. The problem is that we don't have enough guys coming into this dance. Now, I got a couple of opinions about this, and I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers tonight. So I hope you're ready for your feathers to get ruffled. Some of y'all are going to agree. Some of y'all are going to disagree. And that's fine. Because what I'm going to say is an opinion, but I think it's pretty dang on accurate. Now, what I'm saying is that instructors, and y'all have heard me say before, so-called instructors, and I used to get in trouble with the producer lady all the time for saying that. But let's be honest. If you are an instructor, I want to know, what do instructors do? I've never been an instructor. Do y'all just sit around and wait for people to come through the door? Oh, yeah, I want to learn to dance. Or do y'all actively recruit? I know for me, if I was an instructor, I would actively recruit. I would be, thank you, Nate. Nate Williams just put it up there. He says, not recruiting. I have my opinion also in reference to recruitment. Exactly. Why are instructors not recruiting male dancers? Why, with all of the women that are in this dance, you telling me y'all ain't got no dudes y'all could be like, hey, you need to come on over here and hang out with us, learn this dance? Now, I thought about that and I said to myself, now this was because back in the day, a lot of the motivation for us men to be a part of the dance was the women. Okay? Now, I know everybody in the community ain't single. I know everybody ain't in the community chasing down, trying to get up on nothing. I'm not saying that. But it would seem to me that when I look at all of the other genres of dances, why does it not seem to be so unbalanced in their communities? You look at salsa, you look at the swing out community and the two-step community, and you ask yourself, why are there so many men in those dance genres, but not ours? Now, this is where I go off the rail a little bit. I thought about this today. I was having a conversation with another gentleman in our community, Ambassador Nevels to be exact. And something occurred to me. Now, I'm not one of those people that likes to get into the whole gender and race differences. But then I have to ask myself, is the reason why we struggle to have the male populace in our community grow, is part of that because is it a black thing? Is it a gender thing? Or is it just the dance genre itself? What is it that's keeping the guys from coming into this thing like, man, I want to do that? What is it? I'm just curious. Kevin Portier says, I remember last year in New York, Big City Weekend, Steppin said Andre Blackwell added about 18. He was happy that many men showed up. See? I'm trying to understand what it is that keeps us from bringing in the guys that we need to bring in to enjoy this dance. I'm kind of at a loss. Sheila, you say this should be a call-in show? Well, guess what, Sheila White? I'm going to send you a link. And all you got to do is click on it and come into the Zoom. And I'm going to let you voice your opinion. So stand by for that. So I'm trying to grasp why that is. Now, I'm going to tell you what occurred to me. I had an incident happen. I wouldn't call it an incident because there's a blip on the radar. But I had someone get pissed off with me this weekend because of my frank and candid opinion. Now, I'm going to say this again. If you have a problem with the truth, it's the wrong place for you. Darnell Johnson. Wait a minute. Let me see. I missed that comment. Where'd it go? Sheila White says egos in her opinion. And someone on here said, Darnell Johnson said they think Rome was built overnight. Well, Darnell, here's the thing about that concept. While I don't disagree, let's also consider the fact that in this community, stepping didn't just start. This has been going on for over 50 years, 60 years now almost. So, and there was a time where men were prevalent. And as a matter of fact, let me just give y'all who don't know, who are not a part of Chicago culture, as I was growing up. Let me explain something to y'all. When we were coming up, and a lot of us would go to these different sets, a lot of guys traveled in groups. We traveled in packs. And we would show up at a set, 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 deep. It was always, and we wasn't the only ones. So it was going to always be dudes. It wasn't a lot of women. They were there, but the balance was there. Why? Because we went to get the women. And if the men couldn't dance, as Celeste also pointed out last night, you wasn't getting ready to get no dancers. You was going to be standing off to the side. You wasn't getting ready to get that love like that. So guys made it was incentive for them to learn to dance or to be better dancers. Now, the reason I'm saying that part is because back in those days and just outside the dance community, whatever, men peacocked, you know what I'm saying? We did things to get women's attention. We had swag, stuff like that. Then I got to thinking about how we live today and the way people move today. Most people can't even be shamed anymore. Things that you should be ashamed of, you're not. Most people don't move the way people moved in those times. Women are far more independent these days, and they move differently. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. And it made me wonder, with the dynamics that we have socially today in our community as majority, us black folks, has the way we do things rolled over into our dance culture to where we treat each other the way we do on the street in the dance community. Now I'm going to show you something. And this is where, like I said, I ran into this other little situation this weekend. Anna Marie Smith Sizzle says, but men nowadays don't have genuine friendships or crews. They are unhealthy competition with one another. I agree. But then that is not gender specific. Women do it as well, especially. In fact, I think more. But they still come out and they get down and get their dance on. Now, it made me think to myself, do we, or has our behaviors in everyday life, which I know for a fact, carry over? And I'm going to show you how I know this. Things carry over because I want to use this part of the conversation to explain part of what happened to me this weekend. There was a new lady who came to our set. Oh, and by the way, before I get real far into that, let me give a huge shout out to my girl, the newest stepper DJ, Miss DJ Queen B. Now, in case y'all don't know who that is, that's Miss Beamer Johnson, the promoter for Stepping in Elegance coming up in Houston next year. Y'all know the name. You may not know the face, but let me tell y'all something. She was sneakily in the background working on her DJ skills over the last several months to a year. And she came into our set. She told me she was coming up to our set over here in San Antonio from Houston this weekend. And when she told me she was coming, I said, oh yeah. I said, well, do something for me. She said, what's that? I said, bring your equipment with you. She said, what? Yeah, bring your board. I want to plug you in. I'm going to give you your debut as a DJ out here on these streets and let you do your thing. And let me tell y'all something. She did not disappoint. She came in and she tore it up. And I'm saying that because I'm going to get to this a little later on. We can build in this community in the same way someone gave me a shot and put me on and let me play at their set. They took a chance on me. It's the same thing I did with her, and I do not regret one bit of it. She threw down. She did her damn thing. Now, in that same vein, it's about trust, but it's about also dealing with people in this dance and treating one another the way we should all be treated. Now, let me see here. Let me get this thing up here. We have to be better about how we move together in this dance and how we treat each other in this dance. Here's the thing that I'm getting at. There's an etiquette that takes place in this dance. I know y'all think I'm all over the place, but I'm not. You just got to stay with me. This is like one of them stories at the end. You're going to see where I'm going with this. And when you take care of those around you, they take care of you. So check it out. I was explaining, because see, without getting into a whole explanation about walking, there are different styles of walking. You have the very sort of distant walking, where you are basically keeping your hands out, keeping yourself separated. Then there are those who choose to dance more close up. You have a style of walking that involves a chest-to-chest type closeness. Now, going back to the culture part, why is it that in our community, we're so self-conscious that we think walking is actually intimate? Why is it that we take such offense to being that close to someone in the dance? Now, there's a reason why people feel that way. Why? Because we don't trust one another. We don't trust each other to be that close and somebody not do the wrong, and somebody do the wrong thing. You got men in this community who, by all accounts, are predators. But then you have men who genuinely love this dance and they want to operate within the dance properly, regardless of the style of walking that you would be doing. And it's no different than when some of us were children and we slow danced. Every slow dance didn't result in some girl getting felt up. That's not what was happening. So now here we are as adults. We're in a place where we feel like it's too intimate to be dancing with someone that close. Well, and this is where I'm getting to the trust part. For women who are comfortable being able to dance close up to a man, there's a particular posture that your body should maintain throughout that dance. Now, if you don't know the posture, you have to learn it from someone who does. But let me just give you a little bit of a explanation. If you're dancing, walking up close with someone, the proper posture for the woman's body is like one side of a V. And what I mean by that is she should be somewhat like that. She should be pressed with her upper body into his chest. But her legs should extend out. And this is why, also part of the etiquette, women should be wearing heels, because you're supposed to be operating on the balls of your feet. Now, when that man strides into you, your foot, his right, your left, should be striding out while his leg is striding in. You avoid foot contact, stepping on toes, and it makes the dance so much more elegant and so much more smooth. But here's where the problem comes in. When some of the women, now let's go back to what I said earlier about people moving differently, women being more independent. Now a lot of women will take exception to what I'm about to say, but a lot of men will tell you that I'm not lying. Now there'll be people who will admit the truth, but there are those who won't. But some men, like myself, I can often tell a single woman that I'm dancing with. And this is not a new phenomenon. Men do it all the time. I can often tell a woman who is not comfortable trusting the man she's dancing with to lead her under certain circumstances. It's one thing to lead and you just doing a bunch of turns and all of that. But how much does she really trust you? Okay. In order for two people to walk in the demonstrative way that I've explained, she has to trust that you have her, that the man has her. It's similar to if a person is dancing or a man is dancing with a woman and goes to dip her. Every woman does not want to be dipped. Most women don't want to be dipped because they don't know the man they're dancing with and don't trust that he will make sure that her ass don't end up on the floor. A very simple concept. When we're on the dance floor, just regular stepping, and this is where we're going to get into the etiquette part, gentlemen and ladies. I can tell when a woman is uncomfortable with her back to other people dancing, which shows me that she has a certain level of distrust in the person she's dancing with because she doesn't believe, and sometimes this has nothing to do with who she's dancing with, it's just the fact that she needs to be in control. Some women have to be in control. Even though they're dancing and following, they still have a certain control. They got control issues because they're not accustomed to a man having them, making sure they're okay. And this is a fact. Y'all can, and don't get me wrong, it's an opinionated, but it's fact. And most men will tell you this because they know exactly what I'm saying. But men, it is your job to make sure that this lady is not getting kicked, backing into somebody, getting hit in the head. It is your job in the etiquette of the dance to protect, just like in real life, that woman. Just like the way this dance works, you must protect your partner. In life, you must protect your partner and make sure she's okay. Now, funny thing happened. My goofy ass was having trouble spelling the word etiquette. So I Googled it, but I made the mistake is in putting stepping etiquette rather than just etiquette. I don't even know how or why I did that, but I did. And when I did it, AI actually provided me with an explanation. And it says, stepping etiquette in Chicago and other stepping communities emphasizes respect, courtesy, and honoring the traditions of the dance. It involves respecting the floor, respecting the people you dance with, and maintaining a positive and welcoming environment. And I absolutely pride myself in doing that with my sets, making sure that everybody is well taken care of and that they have what they need. Dr. Francine said there's a percentage of men that are not protecting women at home. They are cheating on them. So if you cheating at home and dishonest at home, then why in the world would I dance up close with you? Hey, I can't even argue with that one, Dr. Francine. Now, it also says the key elements of stepping etiquette include respecting the floor. Steppers generally agree to dance to the end of the song, and it's considered poor etiquette to enter the floor late and disrupt the flow. That's a fact. Respecting your dance partner, ladies and gentlemen. Men are expected to escort the ladies to the dance floor and protect them from elbows and other people. Pulling or grabbing a woman to dance without asking is also considered poor etiquette. Now, this is AI, y'all. I just ran across this. Respecting the entire community. Steppers are encouraged to be respectful, polite, and welcoming to everyone on the floor, fostering a positive and inclusive environment. Observing specific customs. Some groups have specific rules for asking people to dance, such as polite request or a handshake before the dance. Following the flow, steppers are encouraged to be mindful of the overall flow of the dance, allowing others to join and exit the floor without causing disruption. Okay, that's just a few of the etiquette points. But the main one, what I found interesting, was the fact that respecting your dance partner. Gentlemen, watch your hands. Make sure you keep your hands in a respectful place if you are up close and personal. There are many other things that we could talk about in this, but I do believe that there's a lot to be learned and a lot to be addressed in this regard. But I want people to understand that somehow, some way, as long as we individually conduct ourselves in a proper manner in the way that we should with one another, then it fosters an environment that other people will need to join and adhere to. See, there is a thing, a legal term called implied practice. let's say, for example, you have a company, right? And you have an employee handbook. And in that employee handbook, it says the rule is we don't remove the red pegs. Well, we all know that's the rule that's written in the handbook. But somewhere along the way, you got a bunch of employees over the last couple of years who remove the red pegs, even though they're not supposed to. And they continue to do it, and they just do it, and it becomes part of the culture. It's wrong, but it becomes customary. It becomes normal. They normalize doing the wrong thing. So then when you get to complaining about these red pegs being removed, or you remove a red peg yourself, and then somebody says, hey, you removed a red peg. We're going to write you up. We're going to get you in trouble. Well, you take them people to court. You say, hey, they fired me for removing a red plug when everybody in here removes red plugs. Well, guess what? That thing is called an implied practice. It's because everybody else does it and you did it. It has now become normalized and no longer really enforceable in that handbook. So I'm saying that to say, let's not normalize removing the red pegs. Let's normalize doing the right things. And therefore, you end up making sure that the things that we need to be doing with and for each other in this dance remain proper, respectable, and we can move forward without having to worry about whether or not the women in our community can trust us enough to do the right thing by them. There needs to be more men, not males, not little boys with, a big boy complex or people with arrested development, more men in this community who want to learn this dance. And I know that they're out there. I know that we can recruit more men to this dance. But my question is, what is it that's causing so many men to avoid being a part of this community? That's the part I guess I'm struggling with, because you get guys to come in. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that a lot of the men who come in start out wanting to learn this dance, oftentimes get impatient because, unfortunately, most of the instructors are very specific to catering to women. Now, we've had this discussion before as well, and we know what some of the real reasons are why the women are catered to more than the men. Part of it is because you dig. The other part is the money. So that when these men do show up at these classes and they get zero attention because the instructors, majority male these days, are paying attention to the women. Let's understand, the men are not teaching the men in this dance how to be proper leaders. And does that not reflect back into our own community? See, again, is the cultural aspects of our communities spilling over into the why we're struggling within the dance community? Even Sunshine Haywood said, the only time I submit to a man is in the dance. But you have clarity about that. She said, and I love that time on the dance floor being led, because I do not require or want to be led by a man in my personal life. Excellent breakdown. Thank you. So what I'm saying is that women like Sunshine, very independent woman, going to do what she want to do. But she has been able to, over the years, wrap her mind around the idea that in this dance, she can be led. Celeste Sutton, while she did her interview on Conversations with Reggie Miles on yesterday, she repeated a very important statement that all of you ladies can take heed of. She said, don't try to dance a certain kind of way with me or this or that or the other. She said, lead and I'm going to follow you. Those were her words. I'm going to follow you. And now, be clear about this, ladies. In the fact, even though she said that, be clear about the way Steppin actually operates. Part of that is that as men, although we lead you, we are actually following you. We have to follow you in order for the dance to be what it's supposed to be. And that's a lesson that you need. If you got an instructor that's not teaching you that, you need to make sure that they are. Tell them you heard it over here. They got a problem, tell them to call me. Now, do these little subtleties, these small idiosyncrasies, spill over from our daily lives into our dance culture to the point where we struggle with one another? Is the fact that the dynamic of the man-woman situation in our community today, because of our dating styles having changed. When is the last time, and I know it happens, but I'm saying nowadays it's a little different. People nowadays damn near don't even go out on dates. People nowadays do everything through social media. Every interaction is a text message. It's so impersonal. Do the impersonalities, the impersonal behaviors spill over into our daily lives, into the dance? Let me see. Sheila, I welcomed you in. I don't know what happened. It said joining, but it didn't. So just keep trying to come in, and we'll get you in there. And I'm thinking, and here's the other thing. I'll be 60 this year. Sunshine say we just hunching, texting, and arguing. Yeah, I'll be 60 this year, and I can honestly say that I'm glad that I was born when I was, and that I experienced the things that I did, because I look at the way the younger generation operates now, and I'll be honest with you, I'm elated that I'm not a part of that. I'm happy that I know what it feels like to be able to slow dance with a woman, enjoy people's company, walk up to a woman on the street. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? Ending up with a phone number. Back in the day when we had big old deuce and a quarters. If y'all don't know what that is, that's a car. Buick Electra 225, or a big old Cadillac with a bench seat in it. And your girl get to slide up under you and you put your arm around her. We ain't text messaging. We ain't on the phone. We ain't none of that. We get together. We get in our ride and we go out to the lakefront or something and chill and talk. And we did things different. So I'm saying that to say, with things being as impersonal as they are today, where are we in the dance itself? So, let me see. Let me do this again. I'm going to send it to you one more time here, Sheila. You can click on the same link. Nothing should be different. So as it pertains to the younger generation, particularly the ones that are coming into the dance, I look at the way they move. Now, there are a handful of these young guys that are coming in that get it. You know who they are. They're well known because they get it. You can tell who the ones are who get it. I'm not gonna name names, but you can tell. You have guys that are coming into this and they don't want to take it seriously, and that's fine, because if it ain't for you, don't do it. But what I can't figure out is times have changed so much that we as men have no interest or desire to be that close to women, even in just regular dancing. I'm not just talking about walking. We have no desire to just kind of be together and coexist and mix and mingle and touch hands with these beautiful women. Man, let me tell y'all something. We have some magnificent women in this community. Big hearts, great personalities, wonderful dancers. Listen, I'm married, and I don't want y'all to misconstrue what I'm saying. Part of why I do what I do these days, and a lot of y'all have never seen me dance before. There are people out here who actually think I can't dance. But I do this because I love the people, because I enjoy the fellowship, just the times to get to hang out, see people that I like. Some of y'all I really damn like. I enjoy your company. I enjoy being around you. For me, that's really, and you know, it's funny, I was talking to somebody the other day who kind of told me the same thing. They were like, you know, I just really enjoy just being here. There are a lot of people like that. They come to these sets, they ain't necessarily got to dance. You know, this is a great community. Kenneth Wynn said 3 minutes on the dance floor. It's called a 3-minute romance, y'all. You got 3 minutes. Get it in. You understand me? Get your dance on. Feel that vibe. Listen, everybody in this chat on this podcast right now can attest to one thing. Somebody that you've danced with, somebody you got a vibe with. You danced with them, and man, you was just like, wow. And you want to dance with them again a couple more times. That is going to happen. There are some people you're just not going to be compatible with, just like in real life. And it ain't nothing wrong with that. We got to all be, Sheila, I'm about to admit you into the room right now. Make sure your camera and your mic, make sure your mic is on mute and your camera is on. Let me see. Nate Williams says, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of women will sit and wait to dance with the guys that compete, or they will just dance with the guys they know. They don't really dance with new guys, and that can be discouraging. I've met guys that had a few lessons at different sets and didn't get to dance. Well, Nate, I'm going to tell you like this. I don't have any real sympathy for these guys. Let me tell you why. You're men. They're men. Now, this goes back also to a conversation that I had, I guess, about last year or something like that, where I talked to a few people, and we discussed the fact that a lot of men come into this community and they don't really have any real swag, if you will. They're not the type of guys that go out and holler at women like some guys do. You got some guys, they just, hey, you know what I'm saying, they holler at women. They're not like that. So now these women have become way more accessible. If you were a shy guy in real life, so to speak, or you were one of those people who did not have access to, you dig, and now all of a sudden you do, well, it tends to change the way you look at the world. And now here we are in a place, in a dance, where these men now have the opportunity to be a part of something that gives them closer access and closer, you know, they just ain't never been able to, first of all, dance, be around these women. I've seen some guys that were some straight up nerds, man. I'm talking about just goofies. They got a little swag about themselves these days. There are those who are still nerds. They can't help it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But simple fact is, there has to be incentive. And I always thought, for me, I always thought women was enough incentive for any man to want to be present. That's just, me. And I'm going to say this again. Do not misconstrue what I'm saying. My wife and I, married and all, we are not the kind of people that we go to a set and you can't dance, don't be dancing with these women. Listen, guys, if my wife loved to dance, don't ever be afraid to approach Poppy Forbes and ask her to dance. She wants to dance. She will dance with you. We don't have them kind of problems at my house. We don't get down like that. And I'm saying that because I need my people to understand it's a dance. That's it. That's all. As long as you appropriate, you don't get disrespectful. We ain't got, man, I could give a damn. I hope you can dance all night for all I care. It is some beautiful sisters at these sets. We got guys at these sets that are very attractive to a lot of these women. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that probably the majority of this community is single. And I mean, when I say that, by not married. I'm sorry. I don't understand. Because if I was single, well, let me take that back. Knowing what I know, I wouldn't fool with nobody in this community. But I'm just saying, knowing what I know, man, look here. And if I was that type of dude and I just, hey, look, man, it's too many pretty women. If nothing else, hell, I like being around pretty women. I like being around good looking people. I love when I go to these sets and everybody, like, for example, when we go to Black and Bling, the white side of the party, the Friday night, I love looking at a sea of white. Rodney Mack's party, Detroit, white party. Pete Frazier's white party. I love looking at my people in all their glory. It is the most beautiful thing in the world to me. Look, man, y'all look good. Y'all some attractive people, man. Who don't want to be around that? Who don't want to be around a room full of grown-ass people, dressed nice, acting like they got some daggone sense, and just enjoying life? Who don't want to be around that? Why? Because you can't make a couple of steps? You'll figure that part out. Because if you ain't having fun, you're doing it wrong. Sheila, unmute your mic, baby. Your mic is still muted. Unmuted.
Okay, I'm about to say I'm sitting here in this parking lot.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sheila White. Okay, Sheila, tell us why you think we have such a shortage of men in the community.
For one, I think we have a shortage of men because a lot of men, you touched on this a minute ago, are very territorial. Number one, we're talking about men, we're not talking about women. Men don't want to go where they feel uncomfortable. Not that they feel unwelcome, because they don't even want to test the water to even see if they're going to be welcomed into the community. And I'm just saying my opinion and based on my experience. Okay, born and raised on South Side Chicago, blah, 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 blah. I've been living in California since 1990, whatever. But a lot of these, I've been trying to get them to go to Chicago and they won't go to Chicago.
Man, they got to make the pilgrimage to the Mecca.
I don't understand that. And I've seen some very renowned instructors invite a lot of these men from the West Coast to Chicago have given them personal invitations. I've heard it on live footage, and they have yet to come to Chicago. I personally have asked people if they're coming, going to the Mecca. Oh no, I ain't going to Chicago. Your butt been stepping for what, 10 plus years, and you have no desire to go to Chicago. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make sense to me. I just don't understand. Other than the only thing I can conclude is that it's their ego. What is the problem? And I know they may feel a little intimidated, but go explore. A lot of people won't step out of their comfort zone for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, and I don't know, I'm not a man, but maybe it's competition. you know they're afraid they're gonna lose their, what's the word I'm looking for? They're gonna lose their swag, or their swag is gonna be challenged. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but I'm just gonna say this, and maybe I'm a little biased. They shouldn't compare themselves to the Chicago men. Number one,
They shouldn't
because
compare themselves to anybody, to be honest with
no,
you.
but we're talking about Chicago. We're
Right.
talking about Chicago. We're not talking about anything else. Don't compare yourself. You're not going to measure up, but you are right with that. But don't go there and try to measure up. And again,
Well,
this is just my perception.
right. But here's the
You're
thing,
not going
though.
to wait, let me make this. And you're not going to outdress the Chicago men. Don't even try to be yourself. Just go there, be your authentic self, and everything else should flow. Don't try to be anything other than who you are, and you will be okay.
Okay. Now,
That's all I have
let
to
me
say.
ask you this. What about the people, because there are men right in Chicago who suffer from the very same thing you just finished describing, and they're actually from there? What's your answer for them?
Well, I don't have all the answers. Again, I'm just based. I don't have, but Chicago. Well, one, the men in Chicago. I speak again from my family. I have my uncles are still there. My first cousins are still there, and I can't get them to come to a white party. I can't get them to go to. They come to the 50-yard line, but I can't get them to go to like the major events. I'll meet you at. I have a cocktail with you at the 50-yard line, or I'll meet you at the
Mm-hmm.
ballroom for a couple of, or the heroes or whatever, but they're not into all of the new wave stepping. They're more old school because they're from the 60s and 70s. So I can't even get them to go to an event. I can get them to go to a hole in the wall, but other than that, they're in their living room, in their basement, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
So
listen,
that's
Sheila, I thank you
okay.
so much for chiming in. I appreciate it.
I
Thank you for
appreciate you
that.
having it.
How
Okay,
you doing,
thank
by the
you.
way? You good out there?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Looking forward to August if I don't see you guys before then.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we are looking forward to the homecoming. We'll see you there. Thank you for coming through.
Deuces. Bye bye.
All right. Okay, you guys. So Sheila's contention is that, of course, a lot of it has to do with people and their inability to, I guess, see beyond what their immediate scope of this dance is. And I get it. But we have people that are right in the city of Chicago who struggle. And even in the city of Chicago, although it is, of course, the Mecca, and let me tell you something, she's absolutely right. I encourage, if you've never been, I've even heard people claim to be the best at something or another in this stepping game, and they ain't never even set foot inside the city of Chicago, let alone any of the clubs or any of the sets. Um, there are people who genuinely do not understand the necessity and the reward that comes with coming to my hometown and understanding how we really get down. I have been fortunate enough to be a part of a few excursions where my wife and I took some people with us to Chicago to experience it from our perspective, meaning because my wife and I move around in the city, we can do that. And we take them to places that they've never heard of. We take them into environments that they could not fathom prior to those days. And once they left there, it's like all of a sudden, it's like, wow, now I get it. Now I understand. Like Riri Aurelia Petty Owens just said, the Mecca put the light bulb on. Exactly. The Mecca turns that light bulb on. If you ain't never been there, baby, you need to make your pilgrimage. What's up, Q? My fun girl is in the building. Norma, I see you. Another one of my fun girls. Deborah, I see you too. They're my fun girls, y'all. Y'all watch out for them. When the fun girls is in full effect, Jack, it's a party. Believe that. But it's one of those things where my man William in the building. Oh, collaboration is real, sir. It is one of those things where a lot of people they don't get it until they get it, and people, we have to continue to encourage them, but we also have to make sure that, again, this is an interesting dynamic in our community. And so many of the things that we do in our daily lives and the way we behave in our ways of doing things spills over into our dance. And I know a lot of people have never really even thought about how important that is or how it affects us. But I'm putting it out there for you because this is food for thought. This is something to put in your pipe and smoke and think about and ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do to be better, to make everybody else's experience better? Because believe me, when we work on ourselves and make ourselves better, we automatically make everybody around us better. Miss Celeste Sutton is in the building. How are you, young lady? I'm glad you came through. We just finished discussing you a little bit and your wonderful interview that you did on yesterday with Mr. Miles on Conversations. Thank you for your undying love for the game, even though it is not your career choice, as you pointed out. We do appreciate that input because it is very important, and you also help to fill in a lot of gaps for a lot of people. Thank you, ma'am. So, the trick is this, y'all. Somewhere, some way, there's something that we must do collectively as a community to not only attract the more males, more men into this dance, but maintain them and help them to get through to make sure that we are able to add to our community. Hey, Rochelle, I'll see you this weekend, baby. Let's see. El Lamar says, so when is the Inside Stepper Chicago excursion trip for loyal patrons? Hey, that's a good idea. I might have to do something like that. But we do it on an individual basis. We don't taking a whole group. I don't know. That might not be a bad thing. We might check that out. But as we make ourselves better in taking care of those around us, we automatically take care of everybody else. It's all about the etiquette. It's all about the way we treat each other. One of the conversations that took place yesterday on Conversations, they talked about the bop. And in talking about the bop, I want to pull out this one little point. Depending on where you were in the city, you danced with one hand or the other. Now, like I pointed out recently on my editorial, this is not the old days, and we don't have to operate under certain rules, although the bop is one-hand dance. Gentlemen, part of the etiquette, let these ladies go. Dance with them. Know when to let go. Let them do their thing a little bit sometimes. You can't hold on to them forever. You want to, but you can't. All of that is so important. She pointed out the thing about the hands, about Lloyd and the way he uses his hands. This dance is not all 8 steps. It is not all just them 8 steps. There are so many other nuances and so many subtleties that come into this. But as men, see, back in the day, we all got together and we'd be in somebody's basement, clowning around, dancing with each other, dancing with the pole, whatever was available, the doorknob. I remember speaking to one day, Ty Skippy and I were talking. It's funny, with Celeste on here. And he and I were talking one day, and he was talking about, man, I step every day. I step everywhere I go. He was laughing and joking, And he said, man, when I was a kid, I used to be in the grocery store, stepping with the cart. My mama used to get mad at me, That's somebody who genuinely loved this dance. Fellas, and I'm speaking to some of those men that might be on the fringes of thinking about letting this go. Don't. Dance with the doorknob, dance with the grocery cart, dance with the pole, dance with the wall, dance with whatever you put your hands on. Dance with the woman, dance with the door. But improve yourself. The more repetition is everything. Repetition breeds perfection. Although I've never met a perfect stepper, repetition is what makes you great. Be repetitious in your dance. And guess what? When it goes to the floor, it'll translate. Stop worrying about that person's dance and whether they missed a turn or if that lady didn't do one thing or another. Just do your dance to the best of your ability and you learn as you go. I promise you, you cannot go wrong in this dance. Just keep doing it. Keep enjoying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. I'm telling you now. If you're not having fun, you're doing it all wrong. We gave a set last weekend, and I've received several phone calls since that set. And it's not the first time, but I'm just using this as an example. People call and they say, man, listen, I appreciate what y'all do because I didn't feel uncomfortable. I felt at home. Everybody was welcoming. Everybody was in the building, just having fun. That is the environment that I want to provide every single time. Don't come in there with no nonsense and no negativity. There are people who dislike the idea of not being in the Mean Girl Club and all the other trash that they want to bring into this set. They stay away, and I'm glad they do. I want them to stay away. They're welcome. Long as they don't bring that trash with them. Come through the door, touch hands with the people you like. You ain't got to say hello to me. Get your dance on and go home. It's free. It don't cost you nothing to have a good time. It don't cost you nothing to smile. Please believe it. You dig. Now, I'm going to get ready to get up out of here because I done went over. The producer lady should be on her way home with my dinner. Look, she ain't here today. Y'all don't hear her in the background cussing me out, so that's a good thing. Let's see. Yeah, Karen Foster said, please don't forget the back of the chair. That's right. Whatever you can put your hands on. Now, remember, this is how, people talk about footwork and all that, but this is how, we want to sit up doing no bunch of turns with the door. This is how your footwork came to be. This is how your footwork got in where it needed to be. You used whatever was around to learn this dance. And I encourage more people to do that as we are in what I like to refer to a transition period. We're in a reset period in stepping. And myself and Dr. Miles are working very diligently to make sure that we fill in those gaps for those who don't know and do as much as we can to set the record straight and make sure that the timeline and the history are properly understood so that there's no confusion as we move forward in this dance and myself and those around me begin to meet our time on this plane and we move on to the next. We have to leave the information here so that those who come behind us will get it and that the culture will remain strong and growing. But we want to make sure it's done properly without all the nonsense and the BS. So with all of that said, I think it's about time for me to let it all go. I think I've covered almost everything I wanted to cover for the most part. But I do want to say this here. We have to continue building not only the community itself, but one another. We have to, ladies, look, start bringing these men, even if it ain't your boyfriend. It ain't got to be your boyfriend. Start bringing these men. I know some of y'all women be talking about, I got male best friends. Bring them with you. Bring some of these guys and show them what a good time they can have being a part of this community. Gentlemen, if you are on the edge of thinking about stopping doing this for one reason or another, don't. Don't be on the edge. All you got to do is just start enjoying it. When you enjoy it, it becomes easier. To the people out there who only, like was pointed out earlier by Nate Williams, dance with certain people. Nate, let me encourage you not to, and others, not to condemn these people so much, because a lot of times it's about comfort zones. It's about them dancing with people who don't make them nervous. And I know that's a weird concept in this dance, because you got people out here that literally say that they're nervous dancing with somebody. But let's encourage people to not be nervous. Ladies, matter of fact, we had an incident this weekend at my set where there's a gentleman who is very new to stepping. One of the ladies in our community, thank you so much for what you did. You know who you are. She went over and she got that man and she got him on the floor. And baby, look, that man had a great time. She walked him through a few things and she had him out there on the floor and she danced with him. She gave him a good dance. He enjoyed that good dance. That right there, that simple gesture was encouragement enough for him to say to me, wherever y'all at, we coming. Him and his wife. He said, we'll be there. We'll be there. You do this every day. We do every week. We coming. We gonna be there. Sometimes that's all it takes, is that little bit. Ladies, y'all can do that. Gentlemen, when you get these ladies a good dance, and even if you're new, the fact that your confidence speaks volumes, and not taking yourself so seriously that you feel like, oh, I messed up. I did, laugh it off, man. Enjoy yourself. It ain't that serious. It's a dance. You're not in no competition. You're not going to be on stage and get judged. This ain't it. You're here to have fun. You're here to have fun. And that's it. And that's all. As long as you remember that one little rule, the rest of it is going to be gravy, baby. All right. In the meantime and in between time, y'all, it's time for me to get up this road and do what I got to do, because I'm in the middle of finishing packing, because we will be in the Shy on tomorrow. And yes, if the Dance and Dabney's is on the line, we will be in the building. We will be coming through Visions for starters. We got a busy, busy week. Don't forget, if you in Chicago, get your tickets. And if you ain't got them, meet us at the door, because we will be at Noble Entertainment Center on Saturday for the Shine Entertainment reunion party. And baby, when I tell you it's going to be a time to be had, it's going to be a time to be had. It's going down. Believe that. V. Foster said, I prefer the smaller sets. Men are more willing to dance with new women. I spend less money for the same level of dancing. Not doing any more flight sets. Oh, okay. Staying within a 4-hour radius. I love the environment of dancing. Thank you, V. V, where are you located? That's what's up. Tina Baker says, I'm in Chicago. Tina, you beat us there. Good for you. Hey, Keisha Reese, I see you, my dear. Yeah, it's going down. Y'all get ready. Keisha Reese going to be in the building. Keisha Reese, I don't think me and you ever danced before. I think I want to dance with you this weekend. I want to see what you got. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me give a special shout out to all of our benefactors and people who have gone out of their way to support and contribute to Inside Stepping by donating to the Inside Stepping Cash App and making sure that we have the things that we need. So I'm going to tell you guys, let me just tell you, we were able to acquire some new equipment recently. Thank you to you all. And It is going to increase the quality of our broadcasts. So I want to always make sure to give a shout out to my people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the t-shirt purchases. And we have a new batch of rags coming in, face towels. As soon as those get in, we'll have them ready for you. So y'all get ready to get you some of those. I think I'm going to be bringing some hoodies with me to Chicago. I heard it's cold. Is it cold in the Chi, y'all? That's what I heard. I ain't trying to come there to freeze. I'm down here in Texas. It's 100 degrees today, man. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But I can take it for a few days, though. But I can take it for a couple of days. All right. So I want everybody to have yourselves a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote, that being, never measure an event by the quantity of people in attendance, but by the quality of memories you create with the people who are present. I like that quote. I made that, y'all. All right. We out of here. Have a good night. I love you. It's the only reason why I do this, because I love y'all. Without y'all, we have nothing. Without each other in this dance, literally, we have nothing. Love y'all. Views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of its host, Urban Arts Enterprises, its advertisers, or affiliates, and are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.